Hey guys, it is Bright here and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the basics of model horse show documentation. Specifically for halter because you guys know I am not a performance person. But documentation is very important in performance, so make sure to do your research. And maybe I could touch on it a little bit at the end. But we are talking halter today, so that is your collectability cards and your breed documentation document. I'm going to be giving you guys an insight on how I do them and let you guys know how other people do it as well so you can find what works for you. And while we're at it, I'm going to make a collectability card and a breed document card for this guy up here, Mr. Rehovic, a more recent web special from this year. And this is going to be his first show in May, so he's gotta go in with all he needs. So let's get into it. So first we're going to talk about collectability cards because I find those extremely easy to make. They're time consuming, but not as time consuming as breed cards. So I gathered a few that I just have. I don't even think I have any of these horses with me right now, and that's why they were in their own little pile. Let's take a look at Kaylee's. I miss this horse. I really wish I had her, but she takes up so much space. So she's back at my parents' house, but I remember her showing pretty well for me. This is Kaylee, by the way. The purpose of a collectability card is to let the judge know what model they're looking at, where that model came from, how many of that model is made, and this is to help them be judged in collectability. If you're not sure what I'm talking about when it comes to halter and collectability and breed, I suggest to go watching my basics of model horse showing video. I think I posted like last month, so you can get caught up to speed. But a lot of shows nowadays are double judged, so that means when the horse is on the table, they're being judged for both their breed and then their collectability. In a lot of instances, if you want your horse considered in the collectability portion of that class, they need a collectability card. But like I said, they're really simple. And when it comes to Breyer horses, Identify Your Breyer gives you all the info you need. So go to Identify Your Breyer, go find what horse you're showing. This guy would be Rehovic. So I'm going to put his name right here. Usually I have the name like bolded now. These are really old collectability cards. Then I would put the type of model he is. So he is a web special from the, I think it's the Destination series. And this one's a little repetitive because you see I have year produced 2017, but Breyer Fest 2017 special run is also right there. So in that case, you don't really need to repeat it. The information's obviously there, like it's Breyer Fest 2017, obviously it was produced in 2017. So I would put year made, what year is it? 2024. Then I would put the amount made. I believe there were 600 made of him. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I do is just make a Word box in Word. These I believe are like 2.5 inches by 4 inches. I really don't want collectability cards to be as big as like, I don't know, like an index card. I mean, some horses do require them. So this is my Bridget. So I have all that same information. I just, you know, what year it was from. This one I didn't put the year because it says Breyer Fest 2020. How many were made, and then I just have a little thing saying marking, side marking is missing, or missing side marking, and then I just put a picture of the original Bridget for reference so that when they're looking at her, they could look at the original and be like, oh yeah, it is missing. And this girl actually got an Nan card at the last show. I completely forgot about that. This is actually the reference card for my Astrid that came with her. I mean, they pretty much have, they have a little bit more information. It looks like they put who was sculpted this model. They gave a little blurb about how members had a choice between matte and glossy, and that there wasn't a run number released. So when it comes to those models that don't have a release number, you really just don't put one. I just had Flash's card pulled up, and it just said Flash, regular run, year made, I don't even know. I think it was like 2009. So they don't need to have a bunch of words on them. They just need the basics. And you will find all that information on Identifier Briar. And I kind of just keep the same format and style throughout, but people have been getting a lot more creative with them, which I really love to see. And honestly, if I have time one day, like maybe I will just redo them all. But specifically, I was thinking of CWS Design or Model Horse Designs on Etsy. Her name is Sam. She's my friend, so I'm just gonna call her Sam. But she basically made these templates where you just plug the information in, but they're like all these really cute designs. So does every single horse in your show string need a collectability card? That is really up to you. And it's also dependent on what region you're in. So let's say I have, I don't even know, just a regular run model from this year. I'm gonna pick the little POA pony. Am I gonna make a document for him? Yes, probably, because it takes 5 seconds. But does he have a chance in collectability? No. I mean, unless there's like 6 models in the class, then yeah. And I'm pretty sure not even every region requires collectability cards for your horse to be considered in collectability. But I know in region 10 for sure, it doesn't matter how rare your model is, if it does not have a collectability card with it, it is not getting considered for the collectability part of judging. And some horses don't need collectability cards made because they come with a COA. So here's my Copper Fox pony. I love this COA, but it gives all the information that it needs. It says the year that it's made, how many were made, but I know like my Odyssey has one. As long as all that information is there, they're good. And if they do come with a COA and you do have it, definitely bring it. I feel like I've talked about this a few times with my Mr. Odyssey. He was showing in a decorator class that was full of extremely nice, rare decorators. And this guy's nice, but there's 2,500 made. And when he's going up against more limited models and vintage models, it's very hard. But she did tell me that she really considered placing him because he had his COA and also that he came in a color that has only been produced one other time in a run by Briar. So my philosophy when it comes to collectability cards is just make it, just have them out. You never know. If you're already doing it in mass anyway, you might as well. Yeah, I think that covers collectability. Let's move on to breed documentation. Okay, so what is breed documentation? It is pretty much a little piece of paper that explains to you the breed of the model and all the details that come with that. So horses that need breed documentation, it is horses that are not a common breed or they're not a common color within that breed. So this guy is an Icelandic horse, which I mean, if it was an Icelandic in a basic Icelandic color, I wouldn't really feel the need to do documentation for him, but he is a Grulo, which apparently they can be Grulo. I honestly have not gone that deep into research with it yet, but a quick Google search, I was able to find that out. My kind of standard of if I'm gonna make them a breed card is that if I have to Google it to figure out if it's okay that it's this breed, then chances are the judge doesn't know. I mean, honestly, there's a higher chance that the judge would know because I am just not an expert when it comes to breeds and coloring and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm not a complete idiot. Like, I do know basic horse breeds and coloring and all that stuff. I end up doing them a lot for thoroughbreds. This is actually my thoroughbred one for, oh my gosh, what was his name? It's like, I think it was from Briarfest 2019. It's not Straight Bet, because that's Straight Bet. I'm sure you could tell by this picture. But in pretty much all of my breed documentation cards, it has basic categories. Sometimes I will give a background of what these horses are. This is my Colorado Ranger bred one. And it looks like I just gave like a little description of where the breed came from. Then I always have what height it can be, the height range. So in this case, it's 14.2 to 16 hands. The colors that they could come in. Sometimes I'll like highlight that color of the horse that's actually like showing. Their conformation. So I just take some conformation from whatever description I'm reading and throw that all together. And then I just include the source that it came from. I know in school they always said like don't use Wikipedia, but sometimes Wikipedia just is the best place to go. And I honestly use it a lot. So I think it's fine. You're always gonna want to include a photo that matches the horse as close as possible. Sometimes you want to put 1 or 2 photos. This guy is actually the thoroughbred one that I made for the Kel Surprise, the Chestnut Overo, but this, I think maybe this pattern matched him more, but this was like the color that I was looking for. So you can include more than 1 picture. Like most of the time I do. Documenting breeds does take quite some time, especially if you're actively looking for what breed you're deciding like that you're gonna show as you're doing it, but it's worth it. Once it's done, you can reuse it. As you can see, I do print on normal printer paper. When I do have the chance, I do it on cardstock, which I definitely recommend. I do want to give a quick disclaimer to check your class list when it comes to the rules of breed documentation. I'm pretty sure that in the Briarfest Youth and Children's Show, you have to have breed documentation for every single model, because the point is that you are learning how to put together all this documentation and show. It's rough, but they're doing it for a good reason. So I guess I'll touch really quickly on performance. Again, not an expert, and I don't even have anything made that I could show you, but it's kind of the same idea in the sense that I don't even know, because I'm just like not an expert at it, but I don't suggest showing performance at your first model horse show anyways, unless it's the youth and children's show. And I guess there's novice shows too, where that's fine. But if you're like going straight into open, I would just focus on the halter and go take a look around at all of the performance models and how people document certain things. I know like in dressage tests, they'll actually like have the test printed out and like highlighting where exactly the model is in that test. Maybe just talking a little bit about the discipline that they're performing. And I keep on thinking of dressage, but like the level that they're at, and making sure like you wouldn't see Totalis, who's up there, showing in like intro. So yeah, that's my brief summary of performance. If anybody more experienced would like to correct anything I said, I am always open to it, because I always want to learn how to be a better model horse shower. But let's go print out and grab Reykjavik's breed documentation and collectability, and then we can wrap up this video. And just like that, I am done with documentation for Reykjavik. So here's his collectability card. That was super easy to make. I did have a little bit more trouble with his breed documentation. Like I said before, I saw that it could be Grulo, the Icelandic horse breed, but it was kind of hard to find a place that specifically said that. But I found in a lot of places that Icelandic horses can be pretty much any color except for Appaloosa. So we kind of just had to work with what we got. I found these 2 pictures. So one was a more Grula color, and then one was a splash Pinto color. Both Icelandic horses, but just because this guy is considered a splash, and this black and white horse actually has blue eyes too, because I was like, I should really show that off. Thankfully, this breed has a really nice like registry website that had all of the breed standards. The color, a little scary, but I'm gonna see how that documentation does, if the judge feels like that is suitable. Like I said, model horse showing is a learning process, and I know in my early days, I had a few judges that I was able to talk to that gave me some more pointers on how to make better breed reference cards. I feel like another good rule of them is don't make them too incredibly long. I'm pretty sure there's a rule like it can never be more than a full sheet of paper, because you gotta make sure there's room for everybody else's stuff. But yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video of giving the basic breakdown of model horse showing documentation. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already for more model horse content, and feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comment section, and any other video suggestions. Right, I will see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and most importantly, stay fabulous. Bye, guys.